welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a book tag. I tagged myself because I wanted to. I wanted to do this book tag, and besides, I am a smaller booktuber, so you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So we're doing a new booktuber book tag today. Get ready. I got my little handy dandy notebook for the questions, and the very first question, I guess, is why did you start? And I'm presuming this question is why did I start a booktube channel? Not necessarily why did you start reading? I don't know, I might be wrong, but I'm gonna go with why did you start a booktube channel, because this tag is for new booktube channels. So that being said, I started because I really love book talk, and I love watching booktube channels and authortube channels, and I just wanted a space to share my own thoughts and my own opinions on it. So I always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I wasn't sure what I would actually talk about. And I figured since I can talk about books all day long, because I'm obviously on TikTok all day long, I might as well try my hand out on YouTube and see what happens. So there's that. Something unique you're bringing to YouTube. Myself. I think that's always a weird question to me, because I feel like whenever an individual gets on YouTube, that uniqueness is themselves, like that person, your personality, your unique self. I don't know anybody else who's out there being me, but I guess, like, I don't know, if I'm thinking about like marketing terms, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a whole bunch of people of color on booktube yet. Again, it's still a smaller niched community, so maybe that's why. So yeah, here I am, Panamanian and Black booktuber. What are you most excited for this channel? So I'm just kind of more excited for the community that I'm hoping to build around this booktube channel, this authortube channel. So like I said, on TikTok, I've made some really good friends. So I could only imagine that it would replicate the same way, hopefully. So more adult friends on who actually like to read, because going on 30 and I found like 2 friends my age who actually enjoy reading for fun and who aren't like weirdly obsessed with like self-development and self-help books. So like, don't you just want to pick up a fantasy, sci-fi, a romance, something? No. Okay. Why do you love reading? I don't know why. Maybe it's because my mom read, maybe because I couldn't tell you why. I just always have loved reading. I remember reading from the very get-go, like in elementary school. I was a friendly helper and friendly reader, so I'd go help kids who were help the other kids like in younger grades, or in my grade, who were like struggling with reading. I would go help them read, kind of thing. So it's just something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy escaping into other worlds and not being here. So why don't you love reading? It's crazy. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? From like a marketing perspective, from like growing a YouTube channel, just like all the questions, like what did you do? How did you start? How did you grow your community? Those kind of things. But for the sake of this channel, because I'm sure not all of you guys are into that kind of stuff, I guess I would just kind of want to get to know them. Just your favorite books. Why do you like that book? What are your favorite themes? What's a book that you absolutely hate? Those kind of questions. And then also, I guess one big question that I have too is like, especially like the bigger booktubers, one that I'm thinking about would be like, has being on booktube and being like bigger on booktube impacted like your joy of reading? Because that's one thing that I don't want to happen. I don't want this to become like such a responsibility that it impacts like my actual joy for reading, because that's the opposite effect of what it's supposed to be having. So that's my question that I would have. Challenges you think you'll face as a YouTuber? Just staying consistent with making sure that I make videos, making videos that people actually want to watch. with my ADHD, sometimes things like YouTube that like require like a lot of different steps can feel overwhelming, and I just won't do it. So just staying consistent. We'll see. We'll see. So far I'm liking it. So when did you start reading? I mentioned that earlier. Like as soon as like they started teaching me like sounds and letters, I started reading for fun, outside of like, you know, whatever school has you read. Where do you read? There is not a place where I don't read. I don't have like a set spot. My apartment's really small, so I guess if I had to pick, it would either be like right here in this area or like on my couch or something. But like I don't have like a space, like a spot, like a reading area. If I have a book with me, I will read it right there. Like, yeah. So, but I do love those cozy corners that I see people on like Pinterest and Instagram and stuff. Those cozy corners that have like, they're just surrounded by books and that's their reading spot. Those are cute as hell. I love those. What kinds of books do you enjoy reading? So I would say, off like the top of my head, my favorite genre for sure is fantasy, although my favorite books are not in that genre. So, but I really enjoy fantasy. I will never get tired of reading fantasy. There has never been like a day where I was like, ooh, I've read too much fantasy, like I'm burned out. I haven't come across that yet, so I really enjoy fantasy. I like reading romance, specifically more so like dark romance. I haven't, like as far as like regular romance, it depends on like how it's written. Like as far as like contemporary romance, I'm like not really into, where it's just like a story of them like falling in love. Like I want drama, I want messiness, I want like magical elements somewhere in there. I haven't really found like just a cute little lovey-dovey contemporary romance that I wanted to read. So but I do enjoy romance, like dark romance and stuff like that. So what other, there's not too many genres that I won't read if it's good enough, you know? Like I enjoyed, there's like a couple of sci-fi books I enjoyed. I really enjoyed Ender's Game. My friend got me into that book in college, that whole series. I'm starting to enjoy thrillers now that I'm not being a scaredy cat and actually reading them, especially like couples thrillers where like one is like a murder or something like that, and like oh, I hope YouTube doesn't get me for that. But anyways, where like one's like crazy and like the other one like either doesn't know or they do know, like that kind of stuff. Like where is it? I have a book like that I got from Book of the Month that was super interesting. I love that kind of stuff. I love it. I think the only one that I will say I don't like is, not that I don't like, nonfiction. Nonfiction I'm really picky about. Autobiographies, like it has to be somebody that I'm actually interested in. There's certain books that I'll read just more for like professional development, especially if it's about like early childhood and like child development and stuff like that. I'll read those kind of books. But there was like a dark time period where I was reading like nonfiction for like a year straight, and it was just, it actually did the opposite. It was actually really unhealthy for me because like it started this comparison game and like, oh, I must not be working hard enough kind of thing, that kind of stuff. So nonfiction I steer away from, especially since like all of these stories have been coming out about like these nonfiction authors just basically lying. So y'all know who I'm talking about, like Girl Wash Your Face and Jen Sicario, You Are a Badass, like all that kind of stuff where they kind of like stretch the F out of their story. Anyways, that's a rant for a different video. I'll make a different video on that about me and my beef with nonfiction. But yeah, I enjoy reading fantasy mostly and dark romance. So, what does your book collection look like? So, unfortunately, my book collection, I had like a ton, so many books. And then, you know, hit some financial troubles a couple of years back, and all my books were in storage, and I lost the storage, which meant I lost all my books. So I was really sad. I was really sad about that. But my book collection is growing. So I have this bookshelf. You can kind of see like some of the books. And then I have a bookshelf on the other side of my living room, which is just like full of books. It's like overflowing. And I have a couple of books in my closet and a handful of books stored at my parents' house on their bookshelf. So my collection is growing, and I'm excited about that because it's something, I don't know, something about having a like physical copy of the books makes me like super happy. So it brings me joy, Marie. So I am never opposed to having more books, and then I just want to keep regrowing my collection. So right now it's not as extravagant as some other people's, but it's grown. It's doing what it needs to do. And then, oh, I think that was actually all of the questions. What does your book collection look like? Dang, okay, well, that was all of the questions. So as far as like being a new booktuber, I'm excited to be here. If you are here, make sure that you like this video and let me know your favorite genre of books in the comments. And I'm so excited to be here. I'm such a nerd. Yeah, 30 years old and I have not lost my love for reading. So here we are. But I will see you guys in the next video.